Don't Give Up Your Day Job, a local musician's guide. By me, Paul Gillings. An educational and sometimes humorous look at what it's like to be part of the local music scene. Hello, and welcome to my first on-location version of the podcast, Don't Give Up Your Day Job, the local musician's guide. If it sounds a bit echoey, it's because I'm in a big room. I'm in court. I've actually managed to survive all of 46 years, never actually having been to court. I settled out of it. No, I didn't actually go at all. I'm actually in what has become, and is becoming, the Grit Arts Centre in Lowestoft. I hope that I've pronounced that properly. But I have three gentlemen with me who are very involved with that. And if I can go around and introduce, I have Mr. Piers Colby. Am I pronouncing that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Hello, Piers.
Yeah.
Nice to meet
Hi.
you.
Nice to meet you.
This is your place.
It is.
Thank you for having us. That's awesome.
It is. Pleasure.
I've also got Mr. Adam Jarrett.
Hello.
Superb blues guitarist. How are you, mate?
Competent blues guitarist.
Competently.
My strap doesn't fall off in the middle of a gig. I think I'm doing well.
I didn't fall over. I didn't die. It was good. And I also have not exceedingly old because he's not that old, but as in a long term is what I mean, friend of mine, associate, compadre, Mr. Ryan Duffer.
How you doing, Paul?
It's bloody good to see you.
A long time, but you're looking good.
Bless you, man. So are you. I guess I should say that. I'm obliged to now. No, you too. We're still here at our age, and that's a wonder, isn't it?
Still here and still playing music. So
just briefly, Ryan and I know each other from Harmonica Club days. So any long-term listener of my podcast, that's people that probably listen to half an episode, have heard me harping on about some particular harmonica club that I was in many moons ago, and Ryan has come to prove that I wasn't talking out of my arse for all the other episodes that we have. I was in fact bullshitting out and exaggerating, because he'll give us the proper stories. So anyway, what I normally do on this podcast is ask my guests how they know me. Now, Ryan, obviously, I think I've known you since you were born. I think our parents used to hang out, so we'll get to that later. But if I could start with you and ask you how you know these two, I think would be a better way forward. How do you know these two?
Fine. So I've known Adam for a long time. Again, I went to school with Adam.
Middle school.
Absolutely. So middle school. So when we were young lads, as before we started playing harmonica. So, and then we sort of met up at blues jams, I guess. Was it? Is that how we met up? Quite some time ago now. I seem to remember all the pubs that were in Great Yarmouth and locally, all gone, unfortunately. I think, but I think it was around there, was it not? Or
I remember it being that. Just bringing it back again, I have realised that there's more to the Webster story than meets the eye. But Webster was going to Spain to open a bar out of nowhere, and he said, "Don't worry, I've got this other harmonica player that will fill in for me." And
so then, Webster was a friend of yours who bought the Harmonica Club. He was there for about 2 or 3 weeks.
That's right.
And then told everyone he was world harmonica champion. I've since discovered. So you know each other through Webster and
that's right. Bar, that's right. Yeah,
so
that's
you bounced back. I was like, I know this guy. He was the guy with too much energy at school at St Mary's School on Regent Road in Great Yarmouth.
Yeah.
And so
that's right. No, that's right. And so so that after that we sort of hooked up, decided that we'd start a band together, except that we needed a bass and a drummer.
wow.
Kind of essential.
Didn't want a duo.
Kind of
Didn't want an
essential.
acoustic blues duo going on. No.
We already had a pretty solid rhythm section. The two brothers, Martin and Steve Gilmore. Martin on the bass and Steve Gilmore on the drums.
Well, they came afterwards, if you remember. There was Alex.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, there was. I can't remember the name of that drummer.
The other drummer,
Alex
young lad.
Bass, yeah.
I can't remember. But yeah, it was Alex, and then Steve and Martin joined us, and that's been the lineup.
So through a mutual acquaintance, and then putting about literally through music bonding you together.
Absolutely, yeah.
Fantastic.
And then along came, and I'll let you introduce how.
Yeah, so how do you... actually, Ron, I would like to know how you know this reprobate on the end. Mr. Piers, owner of said courthouse. Although he isn't holding court right now, I am. So how do you know this young fella on the end?
We met through your... I think it was through your sister, who's...
lockdown, wasn't it?
It was during lockdown. Yeah, who is really involved with the Norfolk or Norwich dancing scene, isn't she? And as such, then it was yourselves. We found out that Piers was a an incredible guitarist.
He is. I've seen another video. He did interrupt your solo. I noticed. I will take him to task on that one, but it was very good interrupting. I will say that much.
Some things we're still working on. I guess that was
knowing when not to blame him.
Give and take.
So it was. I think that was it, wasn't it? And then we decided, let's bring. We'll bring Piers in, and one of the things that's been incredible with working together with yourselves is some of the original songs, which I'm sure we'll get onto in a minute.
You've been writing songs as well. Well, this piques my interest. That's fantastic.
And I was blown away with how the quality of how great they are. But I think that's pretty much how we met, isn't it?
So through music, through mutual acquaintances.
Yeah.
So Adam, how do you? Well, you know this guy through music and through Webster, obviously. Yeah.
I know Ryan from when I was knee high to a pea hopper. Dr. John would say, but from a school that's since been demolished, middle school or junior school or something like that.
And you just can't get rid of him now. Can you?
Well, no.
I managed to shake him for years, but he's back now.
No, he's great. I love Ryan, I really do. And I remember now how the Martin and Steve ended up doing the substitution, because they were playing in the Booze Brothers, popular band at the time. If you got a chance to see them at the Cali Tav in those days, they were great.
California Tavern.
That's right.
Legendary music.
And we were trying to do our own little thing, which was the Briefcase Full of Blues album, essentially.
Mate, no, you really took to that Blues Brothers album when I remember it had a resurgence, didn't it? Late 80s, early 90s, and you were at, all of us, actually, we watched it around your house, watched it around my house, we watched it individually, we quoted it all the time in the back of the tour van, all the time.
I have to admit, that album opened up so many musical avenues for me. Or the Blues Brothers. Exactly right. And it really opened up not just the blues as well, more soul, Stax, when you see how Cropper and Dunn, so much music that I found. Oh my goodness!
Because it's not just a straight ahead blues album.
No,
is it?
absolutely
not. It's not just that. There's gospel. There's soul. There's all sorts.
And I'll be honest, I still love it and listen to those albums to this day. I love them.
Fantastic. So, right, so that's how you know each other from school. That's great, Piers. Yeah. How did you get involved with these two crazy fools?
So the thing was the lockdown jams, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So Adam was doing in the lockdown when everyone was obviously locked down.
Thanks for explaining that.
That's how that worked. But Adam was putting out these videos, where it was actually the first one, wasn't it? Was it the first one? Was the Wake?
This is the one where you were recording separately. I did see Ryan on one of those. I do believe.
Started it off and then sent it out on YouTube and said, I need other people to come and do bits and bobs. And
you were like, yes, please.
Well, my sister was like, there's this thing going on with this chap I know. Have a look and record a bit. Which I did.
Cool.
And then it was just the funnest thing ever, so I just did another one. And then another one.
Because the Norfolk Blues Society did a bunch of those, which I know you're involved with as well.
They were very good, yeah.
And I've been on a few of those, but you seem to have your own one going on with superb musicians, I noticed as well. Was this all organised by you, Adam?
It wasn't a case of it being superb musicians, it was a case of...
I can vouch for that.
I wasn't saying it was big, they were on there because of it. I thought it was a coincidence that they were superb. It was a coincidence
all
that
it was is I'd try and pick a song that would be engaging, and I would do part one, and the thing was that you clapped at the start, and then you could choose. There was no pre-requirement that you had to be good.
Right, you just had 12, 24 bars to fill, and that was that. I'm going to get on to you about your musicianship in a moment, Ryan, because there was a fairly competitive edge between me and you in the younger days of the harmonica school, wasn't there? And you kicked my ass quite a lot back in the day.
Oh, that was a long time ago, and I think you've more than overtaken me since then.
I don't know about that. We'll see. So if I can get down to some gritty detail, do you see what? Did you see that segue? Did you see that? It was marvellous.
Like a pro.
I've done this before.
We've done this before.
I say, I'm loving this bench I'm behind. I'm behind a bench at the front of a courthouse, a literal old magistrate courthouse in Lowestoft. Anyway, I'm glad to say I haven't been here, like I said earlier, but for anyone that has, and I'm sure there might be some of my listeners, there might be that demographic, I don't know. But what on earth, as I was asking you, you've given me the grand tour, Piers, what on earth possessed you to open what is an arts centre?
Folly and madness.
Yes. Too much money and thought, I'm just going to throw it away on this frivolous thing.
Oh man.
So you did tell me briefly, but for the listener at home.
So I was working for the company that bought this building. showing people around because the company itself didn't actually have much of an idea about where they should take it, because it's a very particular building with a very particular layout, and it's, in many ways, it's quite a hostile building. It's not a particularly pleasant place to be in.
It wasn't supposed to be, I guess.
Exactly, yeah.
Built for purpose.
Yeah.
Next to the police station as well.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So it just stood doing nothing for ages and ages and ages, but because of the layout, especially this section, we've got that big room there.
Yeah,
and
so
then
we've got
these
a front
rooms
big
coming off
foyer,
it.
haven't we, out the front there, with
Yeah.
a bar and a cafe bit in it, which is kind of echoey and nice. We talked about doing the thing in there, it was quite echoey. And we're now in a courthouse that's still laid out with the courthouse, rows of chairs.
Stage at the end.
Judge's bench, yes. And you took me to one next door as well that you're knocking through, and it's almost like the judge's bench when you took the bench facade out there. It's just a perfect stage.
Yeah,
it's got
exactly.
a skylight above it and everything.
Skylight, yeah. And so that kind of layout with the big room and the two rooms coming off it just felt like the beginnings of an art centre, and it seemed like the obvious thing to do. So I suggested it, and they said yes, and then nobody gave it any more thought than that, even though we all probably should have done.
I mean, do you have any experience running an art centre? Have you run events or anything like that before?
No, I
Adam's laughing. Is that suppressing a cough laugh? Is it?
No, it's a bit of a shot in the dark, but I don't want to say it's going well. It's just happening, and as long as I just don't think about it too much and keep pushing at it, hopefully it will come off.
So, do you have a vision for it? Do you have aims and things you would like to achieve with it and stuff like that?
I want ideally the three functions of the three rooms that we're in. This room is going to be laid out much as it is with the road seating, and it's going to be a cinema.
Cinema, fabulous.
Independent cinema for art house films, music documentaries, all the
I've seen those art house films, mate. I really have. They're quite sterling. I saw one in the Tate, and a guy shat on a table and made up to it in the most politest way. Is that the kind of thing we're going to be seeing here? Is Lowestoft ready for that? Is that I'd like to know. I'm pretty sure I am. No, in all seriousness, I'm kidding. What kind of stuff are you going to be showing?
Yeah, well, basically everything that you wouldn't be able to get at your kind of standard issue blockbuster.
Cool.
I wanted to show old films. I want to show old films, music documentaries, and things, and just kind of. Eventually, I need someone to come and run it, for me, basically, and that will probably dictate what gets shown. But
I see.
but
so just
to
stuff
start
that,
off, it will be
a reason not to
taste
sit in on Netflix, then basically.
pretty much, yeah. And also, it's a kind of. I want to price it at a point where people can come and use it regularly. Dictate largely what they want to see to an extent, obviously.
Yeah.
We're going to keep all these benches. I did that for the purpose of.
You did, yeah. That's right. You've been thumping on this one. Probably listeners can hear that anyway.
So keep all these benches so you can bring your snacks in, bring your beer and your wine in, and that kind of thing. And just make it an interesting place.
Lowestoft cinema, they put it on the floor. All over the floor, as it goes. It's very refined, and I hope that...
Keeping that, we've got this...
Okay, so we've got a glass thing here. I take it would be for...
that's the dock.
The dock, so the accused, who haven't paid his parking fine in Lowestoft Magistrate court.
Ironic.
Yeah, you owe 3 months of child maintenance, stand in this glass room, saying you're going to keep that.
He knows you so well, Piers.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with that bit?
I'm going to keep it because I think it's cool.
It is very cool.
I like it as a little feature, and I think it just adds to the vibe.
Character.
I think character and the kind of interest of the place is half the reason why I want people to come and spend time in here, because it's nice in a way to try and rehabilitate a building like this.
Definitely, within keeping its original history and stuff like that, and turn it for something good rather than just.
It's been such a thoroughly miserable place for such a long time.
I noticed there's other businesses downstairs and stuff like that, so you are sharing.
Yeah,
but it's quite a big space, isn't it? All these rooms. It's quite a big
I mean the
space.
building itself is huge. It's on 2 levels, but it feels like 3 because of the way the roads work outside. But yeah, we got so this is the cinema. As you said, bar and cafe and kind of informal live performance.
Yeah, little acoustic jam, acoustic
All
stuff.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the next room, which you were mentioning earlier, is going to be the dedicated live music room. So it's an 80-seater venue, but obviously slightly more standing. And as you said, we've knocked down this kind of peculiar balustrade.
Yeah, that's right.
So
It's just a cool stage. It's a
Yeah,
nice
exactly.
place, and
Yeah.
and without all the seats in it, it's very big. Like I say, it's 80-seater and stuff like that. So what kind of music can we look forward to in there?
Because of the size of the place, I'm imagining that it will be folk, jazz, blues, rootsy stuff.
Okay.
Anything that doesn't involve a great deal of drums.
Drums and amplification.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, there is a lovely little venue opening up down the road. That can
Yeah,
do all that
well,
kind of
exactly.
stuff, isn't it?
So
cool.
that's I'm thinking that the Globe's going to do all that stuff, and we'll do everything else.
Fantastic, cool. And I'm sampling the beers here, so obviously there's a bar and everything else, which is very nice. But mate, I also noticed just quickly something on your website about heritage as well.
Yeah.
What's the thinking on that one?
So there's every time I say like cinema or live music, that's usually going to be an evening thing. But day to day, I want this place to be operating as an exhibition space as well.
Great. So our local artists and stuff.
Local artists, but also a real view about local heritage as well. It's such a big thing for Lowestoft. So
Yeah.
we're already booked up for Heritage Open Days in September, like the entire.
And we're being
entire-
attacked by seagulls right now as well.
Yes, that's all part of the.
It's authentic.
But so Heritage Open Days have booked us out for the entire time. We've got loads of stuff going on
Fantastic.
for
So
that.
Heritage Open Days, they're a local organisation that you're involved with, that you've sort of got in cahoots
Well-
with, or you're working alongside.
So I don't want to get this wrong because but Heritage Open Days I think is a nationwide thing.
Great.
But the Lowestoft wing of Heritage Open Days have booked us out for they run
Great.
events all across there.
I bet they've got some going on down by the quay and down on North Deans and stuff
Yeah.
like that. They were after some free local music and stuff like that. And great stuff, mate.
So that's cool and ultimately one of the plans is to have this as a kind of operational heritage centre where because heritage can sometimes feel a little closed off.
Yes.
Reserved for people who are into it.
Yeah, and also if we keep looking backwards, we're not always going to look forward, are we?
Yeah.
It's what I tend to think. But
Yeah.
it is something that I think we need to be proud of. And
Well,
it's
it's-
another reason I do this podcast is to try and capture where we are now for future generations. To say, look, we have a music scene, we have stuff going on.
It's quite cool to try and house something heritage based in a building that's art based
Yeah.
because they work quite well together. But the art thing might kind of drive it forward in a way it doesn't otherwise get to be driven. Makes it more of a kind of approachable,
Accessible, rather
thing.
than you say being closed off, being something that's a little bit, I don't
Yeah.
want to say snobby, but I'm going to say it, but seem a little bit sort of out there. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
heritage,
Heritage-
it's not.
I think heritage
but it's not
should
accessible. It's
you
for
should
all of us.
be able to pick it up and do things with it.
Sure.
And that's where a kind of creative, art-centered place could probably help out.
Great. Well, yeah, good. I'm glad that he wants to help out. And this is a self-funded, or is he running it as a business, or you get an arts council and stuff like that?
There is no funding.
There's no
money
There's no money.
anywhere.
You're mad. You're mad. But it's beautiful, and I really, really, really will do anything I can to help you, mate.
Yeah, man,
I hope people listen to
great,
this and
thanks.
think, right, that's where it is, because it has, to be honest, has felt like it's a little bit of a secret.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
far.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
like you said to me when I first came in, you said it not had our official proper opening yet. And when it opens proper, do you have a date for that?
I haven't got a date, but it is. It's going to happen soon, and it will probably be announced in a fairly obvious way because we've got some pretty big plans for the outside of the building.
Great. Well, it is in a
when,
fairly prominent place in
Yeah,
Lowestoft,
exactly. Yeah.
and everyone obviously knows the court building, even though they haven't actually been in it. so that's good. It's
Yeah.
on a main drag and stuff like that. Well, I really look forward to it, mate. I
Yeah,
really
brilliant.
look
Yeah,
forward to it.
thanks.
And anytime you've got anything big going up, come and share it with us. But obviously. You're in a band with these two reprobates as well, aren't you? These
Yeah, I
two
certainly
gentlemen who's been quiet for the last sort of 10, 15 minutes, which is the
go-
longest I've heard Ryan be quiet in my entire life. Especially having been in the back of a transit van with him for some years when we were teenagers.
So
That
going
wasn't
back to
fun.
the lockdown jam thing, it's just basically I just did a whole bunch. You think directing
You
me
tell him,
forward.
Adam. I'll do the
backing-
directing. He's telling Adam, dear
just
listener,
as
he's
good on
telling
backing
Adam's,
vocals.
Adam's telling Piers to speak into the microphone.
Yeah.
He'll get you, don't worry. I'll use compression. It's fine, leave it to me. I'll run a podcast. Everybody, I've got a podcast takeover. Adam Jarrett runs podcast, goes wild.
I do require constant supervision.
No, you like to gesticulate. He likes to move people. It's great. It's good fun. I hope he moves that much on stage. I really do. So, what these guys saw you, or Adam saw you on the lockdown jam for? I'm having an infamy band.
Well,
Things get
I
up
think
again.
then we just. What did you just say? Like, come over to Steve's and play some stuff, and then it just kind of.
Yeah,
Lockdown obviously ended, I guess, didn't it?
Yeah, it was the lockdown craziness. We're all going a little bit stir crazy, and those lockdown jams were just a way to be at home but still be with other people that you would normally do.
Great.
And it was kind of like a real shy email from Han saying, "Oh, I've got this little brother." I don't know why, but my brain just went 12 years old. Plays his guitar by himself in his bedroom, and
We call that plank wanking.
he would love to take part in your lockdown jam, but he's too frightened to ask.
Big brother had to get your little band, did he?
No,
Amazing.
this is big sister.
Big sister had to get your little band. Even better. Oh man, bandmates' humiliation is not changed, has it, over the years? Do you know what I mean? Fantastic. So your sister,
It's fairly accurate.
get me in a band.
So the quality was not a requirement to take part in those.
In the
those
lockdown
I can
jam.
vouch for that.
They were
For myself, yes, definitely, for myself.
Not at all.
fun. I was like,
yeah.
yeah, sure thing. And then this sort of video landed of this lovely guitar solo, and I was like, damn, let's put that one on. Let's see if he'll do any more. And then it just became like, all right, you'd always get like a one from Piers, a regular, and then lockdown ended, and we tried to pick up the Hard Work and Blues Band again. We'd only, Hard Work and Blues Band's kind of like been going for such a long time, but we'd only done 2 gigs before the lockdown.
So hard working blues band up until this point was yourself and you, Ryan.
Yes.
So Adam, Ryan. Who else was in
And
hard
the
working
2
blues
brothers,
band?
Martin and Steve.
Martin and Steve.
Yeah,
Okay,
Martin, Steve,
on bass and drums.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And so we'd always go around for Steve's for practice. We'd practice sing, and then we're like, Piers, come round for a jam. We'll play some songs, and then it was just when you know that the personality of somebody is akin to everybody else in the room, it's really difficult to remove them from that situation. So it was like
They wanted to get rid of you, but they just couldn't.
I really
Just kept coming back.
So obviously now you're rehearsing, but where were you rehearsing? Well, it always fascinates me. Where were you getting your stuff together? Because I always found that getting rehearsal space could be a sticky thing and be a maker or breaker of a band sometimes.
Yeah, so it was always at Steve's. He'd set up his tiny little Aviators drum kit. We'd turn up tiny little pocket amplifiers or acoustic guitars and just learn the structure and style of the songs. And then when it gets past the learning and the structure and the style of the songs, and you want to tweak your amplifier to get the complementary sound between 2 guitar players,
Sure.
you have to make sure that we were getting pretty serious, drawing graphs and drawing diagrams.
Like actually working 2 guitars together, not just like you say sonically, well, you know, as far as the sound waves go, but as far as who's doing rhythm, who's doing lead, who's doing this lead break. I mean, twin guitars, I had this conversation on another podcast, is a really, really difficult thing to get right. Is this something that you had to have?
We share it out fairly evenly, actually. I mean, you do some bits, I do some bits.
Well, it's important just not to do the same thing at the same time in the same register and the same tonal.
You say that like it's obvious, but I'm pretty sure it's not to a lot of people. It's really not. And it's not easy to have that communication, especially in something like the blues, where it's on the fly.
Well,
You have to be pretty in sync with what each other are doing.
But even so, there's plenty of times where we're both on some form of rhythm duty because Ryan's doing his bit.
Oh, you got to make way for the harp player. If you ask me, you both will be doing rhythm so that he can play all the time. No, I'm biased. Let the harmonica player.
I mean, that's the least obvious place where you can. Well, sorry, there's the most obvious place where you could have problems. You know, because 2 guitarists chugging away on some kind of chordal thing could quite easily sound like a bit messy.
Very, very muddy. Very muddy. I always think there was a lot around the time of Britpop. I was in a band in the 90s and there was this guitar band, so you could see their arms moving at the same time. And their hand moving in sync. And it just sounded.
So we stay quite clear of that. And we've always got this thing where we do this. So, you know, because you want for the benefit of listeners at home, I'm spreading my fingers wide because you want one guy to be up there, you want the other guy to be there.
Different parts of the audio spectrum.
And that's, as long as you can do that.
Well, that's good. That's good advice for studio mixing and everything. Really, you can't occupy the same waveband. Yeah. You just can't. So yeah, this was the fledgling, hard-working blues band. Were you that hard-working, or was it?
We work really hard. Yeah, we work, especially because where I currently work, in order to communicate that you're going to go over the road for a pint, you can't necessarily use that language. So you say, I think I've got a little bit more work I need to do.
Yeah.
That's code language for I'm going to be going across the road to have a pint. Do you want to come with me? So
fabulous.
That phrase, we've got a lot of work to do, means I've got some beers in. It has all sorts of...
cool.
But we do a lot of research. Going back to the two guitar things, we set aside a couple of hours just to sit with each other and just go, look, I'm going to play in this sort of area. I'm going to hold down the harmonic structure of the song. You do some of the brass pops and things like that sort of thing.
And that's the other point as well, and it's sorry, I just mowed over you. But
it's the Piers show. It's my building. I will speak whenever I want to. Get out of my courthouse. Is this how it's going to be coming here? Is it? I love it.
So I mean, it's quite an egotistical thing actually.
I own all of this. I can buy you.
A lot of our songs would originally have had, a lot of the covers anyway, would have originally had brass bits in, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you just do that.
Cool.
So they're all already laid out in a way that's not. They're not all Sweet Home Chicago.
No. So Adam, you were telling me that you have some original numbers as well within the Hard Blues band.
That was inspired by Steve, who suggested that we have a go at writing some songs. So after the lockdown, me and Stephen Martin were always really busy playing in an acoustic 80s trio called the Aviators. There's a pun in there that had an 80 in it.
I've seen
very
the logos,
classy,
very good. Yeah, excellent.
Sweaty pink suits and all the rest. So as soon as lockdown finished, that everyone's got a birthday party where they like 80s songs, and it's kind of like a novelty act with a.
Everyone's seen The Wedding Singer.
Yes,
it's awesome.
That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Definitely.
So we picked that up, but we're doing that because people want that. But we wanted to do the Hard Working Blues Band again and pick that up after the lockdown. And so the what started to happen whilst we were playing these Aviators gigs, and we've been playing in the Aviators for donkey's years. Steve just started to forget some of the songs.
Okay.
And he's going through a lot of stress at the time. We didn't know whether it's like is he going to be able to hold down his job after the lockdown? Is he going to be?
I do know that stress does play with havoc with your memory. It really does. It's
is that going to be it?
Definitely.
So is it a case of just do a bit of practice, or brush off the rust? We've not played these songs for a while. But it kind of just got worse, and it wasn't a case of not practicing. It was a case of this guy can't remember songs that he's been playing for years and years and years and years and years. So then he went and had an eye test, a routine eye test, and they took a picture of the back of his eyeballs, and they said, you need to get yourself straight down to the A&E right now, take this piece of paper with you.
Oh my God.
He went there, and later, they put him into the scanner and discovered that he had a small tumour growing in this sort of portion of his head.
Oh right, so
frontal lobe,
yeah.
And so then that's something new. That's the reason why he's been forgetting all of these songs. So he was then
long-term bandmate. Friend, obviously outside of here as well.
Billions of years.
You get through lockdown, get outside of that, and you get this.
Ready to move on with the Hard Working Blues Band.
Yeah.
And then this. So we were like, well, that's fine. We'll just spend a lot of time practicing. And he said, no, well, I'm going to have to, a long period of time, have an operation, have this removed, radio, chemo, and all of the gubbins that goes with that. Why don't you guys have a go at writing songs whilst I get better?
Great.
And I should be better by the time...
By which time you'll have a set, and you can come back in, you can go for it, yeah. Cool.
And so the aim was from his perspective is that you'll all be busy and entertaining yourselves writing songs. I'll be better by the time, according to my doctor and all this, I'll be better by the time the Durham Blues Festival comes around. And when the Durham Blues Festivals come around, you'll play some of these songs that you'll write whilst I get better. And so we just each of us went away and thought, right, well, let's see how this turns out. I wrote some songs, Piers wrote some songs, Martin wrote some songs, Ryan wrote a song as well.
Did you, Ryan?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
He wrote a great...
He's shaking his head.
He wrote a great song.
You'll get your turn.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that.
Great tune. But we all came back and sort of, this is it's show and tell, that sort of thing, and we were expecting a huge cringe fest, but I listened to Piers' songs and I listened to Martin's songs, and I thought, I really like these songs.
So you've gone away and written them individually? Because I'm always fascinated in the writing process. So you hadn't sat in a room and bashed out a bunch of riffs. You'd literally got, like a demo together of each of your stuff? Or was it good enough to sort of strum and play and sing to each other? What level were the songs to present to each other?
Person, really. We did it slightly differently, but all individually, didn't we?
Yeah. I think it depended on what instrumentation you had within yourself as a person. Like Martin is a bass player, plays a bit of guitar, but then that's going to limit how much he can record for his little demo track of how it sounds.
Right, so some had demos, some was just like thinking out. Ryan came up, stumbled and breathed in and out of a mouth organ a few times. Here's my new song, and it looks like he wrote it with a crayon. So I'm kidding. Sorry.
You'll have Martin will say, I had a lunch break today and I spent 7 minutes writing this song. Do you want to come round and try and render it? And you'd come round and he'd say, it goes like this, and then he's there to use you as a guitar player to sort of render the sound bites that he's giving you.
Sure.
But Piers locks himself away in a garage and can manage to tinker with GarageBand's drummer in a way that he can get.
I love that virtual drummer.
I cannot get that drummer to do anything for me.
GarageBand virtual drummer.
Oh wow! But
it sounds so real.
Piers will then slide across the table. I've got this little song I've written. It's kind of half done, and you listen to it and you go, it's got a proper drum beat. It's got a bass line. It's got a guitar part that I have to do. It's got another guitar part he does that complements. He's got everything except for the words.
And
so basically, he'll slide over a track that sounds as cool as if it had just come off of a Meters
Fantastic.
album. No lyrics or anything like that. And then there'd be some words, but no melody. So sometimes
are you not keen singing then? Do you ever go at that? No? Not your thing?
I do it very, very rarely and under duress.
So great, all the songs. I mean, I am fascinated by that whole process. I've heard so many different ways. I mean, the whole bringing together of demos was something I knew the Who used to do, and described it. Obviously, I've seen Roger Daltrey explain it exactly like that. That Pete Townsend would come up with like a finished, polished demo, strings, keyboards, everything. Well, what do you need us for then?
That's the Piers.
And he would say exactly that. Someone's got to sing it, Roger. Do you know what I mean? So this is what Piers is doing. Someone's got to sing it, so it's up to you, mate. Well, great. Well, that's fantastic. So hard working blues band coming together, sounding good, sounded lovely. Makes waiting in the wings. So what happened?
So he had his operation. It was deemed hugely successful, and we were all geared up, getting ready. This is going to be great. Because after his operation, after he had the tumour removed, it was really interesting how some of the stuff, his ability to play the drums had come back.
Great.
So we played a little bit drums, a little bit aviators, this, that, and the other. But there was... He said that I can remember the song and I know how it goes and I can remember to play the drums, but I can't process the song and where I'm at it at the same time as playing the drums in the middle of the song.
So it's like miss the chorus and stuff like that.
Pretty much. And so it, as you can imagine, it was hugely frustrating for Steve. And we were quite just happy to have him striking the drum kit again. But sadly, the tune would sort of grew back, great sense of revenge, and he was given a couple of months left.
So this is fairly recently then, I take it?
Fairly recently. He had so he'd met Piers' sister, Hannah, who I'll refer to as the dancing person, dancing lady. and they met at the Hardworking Blues Band's first gig before lockdown.
Fantastic.
And fell madly in love with each other, and spent lockdown falling even further madly in love with each other. And so when
we know what that means, getting locked down with a bit of Netflix.
When you realise you've just got a limited amount of time left, it's kind of like, let's get married, and so they got married. Let's try and do as much as we can. But at this stage, this second version of the tune was growing really fast.
Oh.
You know, it's not just the case of playing the drums, it's walking, it's being able to coordinate your hands to...
Just quality of life all
and
over.
it, you know, we were all a part of that, and it broke my heart, it broke everybody's heart, and it was really sad.
So when are we talking about? Was this late last year, early this year?
So he passed away Easter.
Oh man, so that's proper raw. That's
really,
proper raw.
yeah,
I'm really sorry to hear that, man. I didn't know him, obviously, and I don't know. I've just literally just met you guys, so I'm really, really sorry to hear that. And loss of anyone's, you know, tragic in those in any circumstances. But to lose a musician, especially someone you connect with on such a level as well, and spent so much time with, like since you were literally like teenagers, kids and stuff, mate, I'm dead sorry.
Yeah.
So where did that leave you as a band then?
Well, the thing is that Martin is Steve's brother. Martin learned to play bass to Steve's drums, and Steve learned to play drums to Martin's bass.
So was he going to carry on?
Those two together is the reason why the Booze Brothers is such a good band, the reason why the Aviators seem to be popular, and the reason...
And the bands that we historically played on, like Big Pink, and
I remember you doing Big Pink. That was sort of you getting back into that. Was it you getting back into the harmonica?
That was right, yeah. But it was always with Steve and Martin, and we can come on to that, but they were always the foundation, the rhythm section that we always relied on.
You put together a cracking demo with them boys.
Yeah, it was good fun. It was good fun.
Yeah, it must be 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah, so that's... And very sadly, as you say, Steve passed. And at the time, we were just so focused on being with him, making his, his journey.
So the band was just not in your minds.
Yeah,
clearly.
even
Obviously,
you'd
be a monster if it was.
Absolutely,
anyway, we need to get another drummer.
And that's where I think it was yourself, Adam, who looked to say that if we are going to commit to playing the Deer and Blues Festival this year, which we all wanted to, we'd need to get a drummer who could
walk into all of that. Yeah, wow, big task, big shoes, big shoes to
tricky to do. So you knew a chap. I'll let you.
Well, yeah, like I said about going to do some extra work after work.
Yeah.
So at this particular pub, there's this fine fella called Italo behind the bar, and when you go there so often that you don't even need to speak to get the drink that you want.
I had a pub like that in Caister. Rita behind a bar in the ship in Caister would say, "Would have my pint of lager and lime ready for me to go."
So already a very sensitive barman, but we also bump into him at the Norfolk Blues Society's Blues
so I wanted
Jams.
to ask you about that as well, because you've hosted a few of those, haven't you?
One.
You hosted
I
one?
managed I think they wanted me to...
I think Stuart Aiken posts those posters so many times. I thought you'd done so.
I thought you had a few of those.
Well, I see. It's not just me. Thank you, Ryan.
I was going to do one before the lockdown, then the lockdown came along.
So it was two, but denied as one.
Yeah, denied the first one, and then managed to sneak in the second one. But yeah, at the Blues Jam, I love it because it's so welcoming. You can take all levels of people and sort of mix them together in a way that just allows everybody to sort of grow.
Because you said you'd seen me at one of those, so I didn't think you knew each other before.
Yeah.
You said you'd seen me one and sent mine a video and said, "Listen to this fella," and he's like, "Yeah, I did for fucking years." And mate, transit band, I wish you'd shut up.
You started harping away on that harp and chewing through the microphone. I was like, "Wow, this is special. Let me get my phone out, and record this for Ryan."
And he sent it on. I said, "I know that guy. He's a hell of a harp player." I said to him "I'm glad I didn't go to the jam that night because I'm not going up after that guy."
Leave it out, Ryan. Leave it out. Blimey, bless you. So was this guy part of the Norfolk Blues Society?
Yeah, this guy was there. So the Norfolk Blues Society, great place for people to get started, and experienced musicians there. I can remember sort of just a really embarrassing moment, sort of turning around to Luke Bullen, who's like a professional drummer, and trying to explain to him like he's some kind of dipstick how this basic blues song goes. And he was like, I got it. No, listen.
Surely, right?
Listen.
What you got to do is turn around and
explain
say, "This is a blues riff beat. He wants me for the song. You should try to keep up." That's what you got to say.
But you'll always remember those drummers that play whilst listening to the band, really clearly listening to what's going on in the band. And Italo was one of those drummers. I mean, Piers really sort of picked up on Italo's drumming and was like, I really like that. And so we thought, right, well, step number one is we like this guy. Let's just ask him, explain the situation. And Italo was super kind, super sensitive, really, really sweet guy, and sat on that hot seat and picked it up. And so we divided the songs that we were intending to play. Well, actually, we carved up the set all together and thought, right, Italo's got a big job. He's got to learn a whole bunch of songs in a short period of time. So we're going to divide the set into set one, which is basically a jam set where you can just sort of count it in with anyone.
Yeah, we don't know how long the solos are going to be. We
nothing fancy, you know.
We'll put our arm in the air when it's time to finish, and that's it. Yeah.
And then we've got these 12 other songs in the second set where it starts here and it does this 4 times, and you have to bap, bap, bap here, there, and everywhere.
I think it takes a level of musicianship to stand that sort of improvisation. And like I say, when you put your hand in the air and there's like go round again, not all musicians know that. And I think, you know, you're talking like you take that for granted, but you clearly don't, because you could see it in this guy and when it wasn't present in others. And I think it's something that literally only comes from Kurt turning up at those jams and playing with the good, the bad, the indifferent, the not so bad, the perfect. There might be the pro up there and stuff like that. And it sounds like you've got that from these MBS jams. I've got to say, you know, I haven't got to say anything, to be quite honest, but I'm kidding anyway. I haven't always found them quite as welcoming as you describe, to be honest. But, you know, maybe that's just me. I'm a lanky ginger twat, and, you know, who's copped off too much, so they might have just thought, fuck him then. But other times I have very much so, and I've made a couple of good friends. Henry Baker is a great friend of mine.
He's a lovely guy.
Lovely
He seems a nice chap. Really.
We had a jam on Sunday, finishing off the old jam session at Durham Blues, so that was fantastic. So, yeah, sorry, your story. You got back to this guy, so it's Italo you have drumming before you know?
Well, yes, it is
just
Italo.
hooked him in.
Yeah, I think I get on better at the Norfolk Blues Society because I'm always half tanked by the time.
You're a soft-spoken, really nice guy, not a
Yeah.
lanky ginger man. So I think that's probably why.
No, so then we got these original songs as well now, which you can't just say learn. You know, play. You know, it's just
Being original with blues is hard, man.
It's hard.
It's really tough. Because what do? Do a 12 bar, do a fast one, do a slow one, do it in a different key, sing different sort of lyrics. What do I do? It's all been done before.
Yes. Well, the definition of a blues song is actually quite liberal. It's so long as you go to the 4 chord on the 5th bar, that's technically a blues.
Oh, not with an early 4.
No, according to Rick Beato of YouTube fame, Rick Beato.
Now, I love that guy, but you know, I really do, and I'm a big fan.
He saturated that YouTube channel.
That's a shit, that.
Yeah. So it was kind of like the heart of the songs are blues.
Sure.
So Italo's got this challenge now. We've got these 12 songs where either it's an original song, in which case you just got to learn it the way that we've written it, and all of these other songs are a nightmare because they start in all sorts of places and have these complicated bits of drum. So good luck. You take your time. We'll book some rehearsal time, and maybe you do 3 at a time, 4 at a time.
Well, you know a guy with a rehearsal space, so that's all right.
So he's like, yeah, sure. Took this thumb drive away, and a week later we found ourselves in Pirate Studios for the first time, and Martin's there for his first time playing bass guitar to
Pirate Studios.
a new drummer.
That's a funny old place.
It's a funny old place.
Unattended, isn't it?
Unattended
place. You let yourself in with the key. Almost smells quite sweet. Of the sweet herb. Or a banging house DJ in there usually as well.
I don't know. It smells like a weightlifter's armpit.
Nice combination, that. So yeah,
Yeah. So you took him over there, and he just took to it.
Just day one, and sort of Martin turned around and said, "Well, which ones have you learnt?" And Italo was like, "Well, all of them." And Martin's like, "No, surely not." And we struck up every single one of those songs, and Italo must have learned the hell out of those songs.
It was flawless.
There is no way.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Fantastic.
We've got a song, Maybe Someday Baby, which, you know, we've been playing for however many years, and you know, we still make mistakes.
Has Ryan got it right? Yeah, I was thinking
just
that as well.
It's different every time. It's right every time. It's different every time. So
I am. You know, we are stooging you up a bit, my man. I'm really sorry about that because I do.
I've got thick skin. It's not the overweight. It's just the thick skin. That's
there's just more of you to love. That's
exactly.
What there is, son, isn't it? You couldn't grow up with cigarettes. See, this is why they don't like me down at Norfolk Blues Society, isn't it? I've just discovered it. So, Mr. Ryan Duffer.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello, mate. Thought you got rid of me, didn't you?
No, just I was just going to say, just following on from Adam, and since then, when we brought Italo in, he's really added to some of the songs, made us think about things differently,
really?
how to
So
end.
not only did he just feel,
most definitely not.
Feel like absolutely. That, but he also then put his own twist to it
straight away, didn't he?
Absolutely.
That's wow, you
really,
put yourself a
yeah.
diamond,
So we really do, and he played a blinder, like you say, which we saw as our milestone really when we looked at. It was always looked at as the milestone to make for the Blue and
to be able to play.
Festival.
Was it last weekend?
That's right, yeah. And we always said that after what happens after that, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So as a relatively, I'd say we've been going for a few years now, but a band that hasn't had many gigs, I think, due to lockdown.
Sure.
It's just now a case of understanding where we want to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's next? You can all three answers.
Yeah,
I guess what you're recording stuff. What are you doing? What's next, Mr. Jarrett? You seem like you might be the leader of this here posse.
Well, well, the Hard Working Blues Band was born of the dance crowd doing They used to do like a how to dance to blues dance lesson at the bowling house.
Yeah,
they used to do that to a blues DJ.
Like Blues Dance Society I've seen around.
Yeah.
The Norwich Blues Dance thing, yes.
That's right. So this is Hannah's swing crowd.
It's your sister.
I learned to dance with the swing crowd. Great bunch of peoples, and they said...
I used to turn up to the Wildman and just take over the whole floor.
That's it, yeah.
Like
and outside,
yeah.
Spill outside too. And so... they just said, will you play in a band? And I'm thinking, yeah, the Aviators, which is 80s. You should play some songs and we can have like a blues dance event at the bowling house with a live band. And I was like, right, okay, let's get the band back together. It's a situation.
Always a Blues Brother reference. Yes.
Yep. So yeah, we did it. We just rattled out all the old Blues Brothers songs that we know, left, right, and centre, all of the traditional blues songs that we've been playing, and maybe Someday Baby, which we've been playing a lot.
So are you going to get in a recording studio and put these down?
Yes. Well, now we've got one of the treasures is a song called Seabird Ford. Ford being you've got to write a car song. So Piers, I'm going to write a car song. I'm going to write a Ford Fiesta, Ford Sierra.
You can afford many decent cars anymore with this place. I think Push Bike Blues is I think the next one. Walking Home Blues.
Shopping Trolley Blues.
Walk of Shame Blues, but we'll get to that later.
Walk of Shame Blues. Yes, that's got to be a good one, definitely.
Oh, it is
been
a
few years since I've
now.
done that, to be fair. A lot of years since I've done that. Well, I really hope you do get stuff recorded and get something for us to all have a little listen to, and maybe branch out into some other blues festivals, because there's loads going on.
If there's loads going on, we just need to...
I know the chap that runs Colne Blues Festival, so I can... drop you his email address if you like.
Fantastic.
The Blues Festival went so well, didn't it?
It went fantastically. I think when you look at some of the slots that we had and some of the crowd audiences that we
but just watching a little video of you boys playing in before it came out. It was kicking.
It was fantastic, and it's so great to after the couple of years that we've had as the whole country, to see people out enjoying themselves.
People say, "Oh, everyone's had a hard time." No, it sounds like you boys had a really, really fucking hard time, and you deserve a little bit of brightness in there.
I think musically, yes, and certainly with regards to losing a dear friend like that, and certainly when he was, I look at Steve as one of the inspirations for. Certainly for writing our own music. I mean, I remember sitting with Steve and said, "Look, guys, we are a bunch of really good musicians." He was obviously talking about these guys. I was just sort of sitting there. I'm sat there just making up the numbers.
We'll get on to our story in a moment, Ryan, when you stop doing yourself down.
But to be fair, he really inspired me, and he said, "Look, guys, if we can put together some original songs, we can really make a go of this." And I was really quite inspired by that, to be honest. And it was just so heartbreaking that he didn't sort of get to see that. That's the thing that really breaks my heart a little bit, because I think he would have he would have loved it, you know, and that's the bit that's.
I think if you'd have done nothing, that probably would have been really crap. And
Yeah,
there's no monument to him, is
that's
it?
very true.
If you'd have done absolutely
And
bugger all with
he'll
it.
always be in our hearts. You know,
He'll be
in
the
our
heart and soul of
hearts.
that band, always.
He will. He'll
Yeah.
always be, and you know, we'll
It
always.
is a 6-piece band because
Yes,
he's still
that's
in
where we
there.
look at it. He
On
really,
heart and soul.
He really is. So.
Well, that's great. I'm glad that something really meaningful has come out of something that's really fucking tragic. I'm really sorry, boys.
Yeah.
That's, I like to be a downer on a podcast, but it's real life and it happens. And I'm glad that you boys are still going on with it, and that's they say that's what he would have wanted, but I don't think, I'm quite a miserable bastard. I go, no, I want them fuckers to stop doing that. Don't be having fun without me, you fucking bastards. But I'm sure he's not. You know what I mean? He sounds like a hell of a guy, and I think it's especially for how good you boys are, I think it's a good testament to him as well. It's really, really loving it. So, Mr. Duffer, we've known each other for an exceedingly long time, as we've said, isn't it?
We have.
I don't even know where to start, mate. I don't know what to
Well, let's start between how I. Obviously, you and I have known each other for
babies.
Babies.
Our parents lived around the corner from each other.
That's right.
But I don't know if there was such a thing as baby groups. But you and my brother were at Norfolk the same year at school.
Yes, we were.
Because you went to a Catholic school, didn't you?
I did after we. Yes, that's right.
We went to the regular shitty Yarmouth school, Cobham first, and then Southdown first.
But we came back, didn't we? And but then I think we, like you say, we
Hanging
started
out in the neighbourhood, really.
That's
sort of
right,
was
yeah.
hanging out
And,
when you were allowed to play outside.
when kids
there was a
used to play
connection of
outside,
alleyways
that's
round the back of where we lived, wasn't there?
That's right.
And there was
sort of terraced
always-
houses as well as alleyways at the back.
Yeah,
that's
there
right.
was
So,
always
yeah.
kids, always someone there.
Yeah.
So there you were hanging about, and you were like, "Where are you boys going? We're going to Scouts." So you were like, "Well,
That
I'll
was
come
right.
and have a look
Well,
at
I'll
that."
come- yeah,
I'll
that's
come and have a
right,
look at that.
that's
And you
right.
lasted like 2 weeks because you had a row with with the Scout leader,
I don't
didn't
think
you?
you're too keen on me.
Chief.
That's right. But I think
You started shouting, and you went, "I'm out of here, you old goat," or something like that.
that sounds like something I'd
So,
do. doesn't it?
yeah, and then went. But we were in judo classes together
That's
as
right.
well for a
Yeah,
while, weren't we?
absolutely. Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
He was very, very, very good at that kind of stuff too. Very good, very nimble, very able.
Very aggressive.
You were
little young
annoyingly
man.
good. You were annoyingly good at everything you did.
I don't know about that.
I do,
really
I
don't
do,
know about
because
that, but
I
I think like tenaciousness. I think there's tenacity. I should say that.
competitiveness. So you were a very competitive
I
child.
was. I have to admit, I
You were a
was.
very competitive child.
was.
But your dad was fairly driven to push you fairly far as well.
I'm
He
not
wanted things from you.
too sure. Yeah,
Supportive. They were
supportive.
very supportive.
They were. I was very lucky. I was very lucky. I think
your
right
mum
level
was a
of
lovely,
supportive.
lovely lady.
But going back to we decided. I think of some scouts, and then I saw a chap playing the harmonica, and then I think I saw you playing the harmonica. I said, "Oh,
Hello.
I want. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
How do I? Oh, can I have a go?"
Yeah, that was it.
So picked up a harmonica, just started making a noise. He said, "Look, this is how you do it." So okay, and I think then we started harmonica club at the Scout Hut.
We did
That's where
at
it
Scout Hut,
started.
yeah, on a
How old
Sunday
were you
afternoon.
then? What was your
I would have
first
been about
harmonica?
10.
9
or 10.
Yeah, 10. I think I was 11.
Only a
So,
young lad.
yeah, it was 10 and
Yeah,
11.
9 or 10.
And they basically started a sort of, I want to say poor kids, but it was a disadvantaged kids outreach program. As in, Yarmouth was a very deprived area.
Yep.
And although, you certainly weren't from a deprived background, my parents had recently got divorced and my dad wasn't paying any maintenance, so we were absolutely in shit alley. So there was no money for harmonica lessons, definitely no money for harmonicas.
No.
So they gave us free lessons and free instruments.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was. It wasn't just. I just really enjoyed it.
There was loads of kids. There was like 30 or 40
was,
of us in
yeah.
this Scout hut, like pissing around on a Sunday afternoon. And then they moved it to the Bygone Village in Fleetwood.
That's
didn't
right.
they?
That's right.
Yeah. And you got quite into the, we both did, got quite into the chromatic harmonica.
That's right. So just before that move to the Bygone Village, that was one of the. I used to play football for Yarmouth Boys.
Yeah.
And
Again,
it was
good
a
at
choice.
bloody everything he
It
touched.
was a choice
That's
of,
annoying
and
as
because
hell.
it was on Saturday
Fucking
morning.
made
If you
us
remember to
sick.
go into the Bygone Village in Fleetborough, I had to give up playing football, and so it was quite a big thing because I enjoyed playing football. It was good fun, but
You were good at it.
It was. I thought I enjoyed music more, and I've always enjoyed music more. And I've no
You
regrets.
always had
I don't
great
think
taste in music. I think your parents had
I
great
think I
taste
still
in
do
music.
have
And again,
great taste.
as being
I think there's no past tense on that, Paul. I just generally have great
Don't
taste.
get me on semantics. Anyway, I'm holding.
I was
God
very
damn it.
again.
No,
I
your
think
parents were very supportive, and they had a good taste in music,
They
and
really
they
did.
passed it on to you, and you had access to a whole bunch of jazz. I'd never heard jazz or blues.
Jazz,
and you seemed to know what it was.
jazz, blues, Latin jazz.
You were naming these harmonica players, and I had no idea. You knew who Toots Tielemans was, and I had no.
Yeah,
fucking
and again, that was from my dad,
Yeah.
who loves jazz, and I've always loved jazz music, Latin music, soul, bossa nova, that type of music as well. So, yeah, I was quite lucky to come up from quite an eclectic.
Well, you knew Larry Adler
background.
was, and when we met him, the other four of us were like, "Who the fuck is this old twat?" And you were like, "It's Larry Adler." And like kneeling down, and it's like, "I can't wait to tell my dad I've heard your record." You were naming all these songs to him that you knew of his
Yeah,
that he
and
played,
again, I think
and
it's
we
from
were
my
going,
dad,
"Fucking nerd." No,
Wait till you get in the back of that
Yeah,
transit.
when we get to that
Dead
transit,
arms are
yeah.
coming now, son.
Good God. No, you were. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. He could kick all our ass for all of his martial arts training as well.
Yeah,
Take it
that
on.
was,
But you know. It was funny times. So we started to get quite proficient between us, didn't we?
We did,
and they
yeah.
made a little band out of us, didn't our old harmonica teachers, Norman and David, managers, teachers. You know that they had a matron's license. Do you know that?
I know
Do you know
idea.
what one is? So I've looked this up since,
Okay.
and they had a matron's license, which was basically in the late 80s. They would issue this to people that were in charge of children.
Okay.
Now, bearing in mind the history of what happened to that or particular organisation, these people were given the power of our parents while we were in their care.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough. Wow. I'm surprised they didn't drown me sometimes. So that's, yeah.
You and me both, mate. All
Yeah,
five
I
of
was
us.
about to say.
There's a few times where they had to stop the van because you used to have seats in the back of this transit van, didn't you?
it's just
So we were just rolling around in the
around
back of it. And we went to Germany and all sorts.
Germany,
in the van,
Glastonbury,
didn't we?
all over
in
the
van.
UK.
Glastonbury a few times. 88 was the first year of Glastonbury, wasn't
That's
it?
right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. Was there one Glastonbury you were disavowed because of misbehaviour?
I think so.
You
I think
dirty rock star! It's the total rock
I think
star.
I didn't. Yeah, for some reason I decided I didn't want to go to Glastonbury. What on earth made me think that? I don't know. And I remember
I
hearing the
thought-
stories from you afterwards. It was fantastic, and then I thought, oh, what? I've missed out there.
I thought you were not allowed to
child.
go because you'd been naughty.
I think it may have been that or a mixture of the two. I'm really not 100% certain there.
I don't want to go anyway.
So, but yeah, it was a great experience. Something to.
We did America as well, didn't we?
We went over to the States and toured the East Coast there.
We did.
A
So
few
on the way
venues.
out, I was regaling a story to
That's
these fine gentlemen earlier on about before we got on the plane, we were on Gloria Hunniford Live.
That's
in
right.
this
Yeah.
country.
Okay.
And it was like one of us always had to be interviewed in the band.
Yeah.
And I was very pushing myself forward. Oh, I'll do the talking. I'm fucking important, just like now. Funny that, isn't it? So anyway, I did that, and they said, like the managers, Norman and David said, no, because your Norfolk accent is shown on air. So they had to have you do the talking
That's so.
because your accent, you didn't have a Norfolk accent.
Yeah, I don't generally tend to have an accent.
No.
But it's a bit out of order considering that all
it's
four of us
funny.
were brought up in Great Yarmouth
Peter and John though still had Grimsby accents.
That's
didn't they?
very true as well.
They
Yeah,
don't
they
have
did
now because I've met them both since.
Okay.
They're quite Norfolk, but they did at the time have little Grimsby accents.
That's
just where
right.
they were
That's
from,
right.
yeah.
And I don't remember that bit, but I remember being on numerous TV shows. I remember once going onto a TV show, and myself and one of the other lads in the group. I'm sure I instigated it. Got in a fight about 10 minutes before we were due to go live on air.
God.
I had a great big black eye that showed up, so they had the woman from the makeup department had to come out and was putting. I don't think we got invited back. So
I just remember leaving you to. I think you and John had a row.
That's it,
And
yeah.
you were slamming doors. We were going through the corridors of the TV station. You were slamming doors on him. And I turned around and he had you in a headlock, and I just legged it. I thought I'm having nothing to do with this. And then next time around, he's got a fucking great shine.
Great
he was
big
like
shine.
twice as tall as you as well. It was
that
really
never stopped me.
unfair.
That stopped me mouthing off. I still haven't learned to this day, to be fair.
But your dad did every opportunity.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Motor
With the
Mouth. That was it.
the TV show was on was called Motor Mouth. He
Motor
said
Mouth,
lights,
that's
camera, action.
And then punch, pow. Yeah,
Thanks, Dad.
thanks,
Thanks
Dad.
ever so much. He was funny. He was funny. You're a man. Funny.
But I think the makeup lady for the TV show must have thought,
you wouldn't
who
tell.
on earth are these bunch you've brought in here now? One with a big black eye that we're going to try and fix. But
Well,
it
you
was,
know, the thing was that the madness of our two managers
really
is that they
was.
took 5 lads from Great Yarmouth and then decided that two sets of brothers, no less, as well.
Yes, yeah, that's very true.
And
that's
who
very
would
true.
start a fight in a phone box over nothing.
Over nothing.
And then put them in a transit van and drive them like round Europe.
Yeah.
And then they put us on a plane to the other side of the world.
Yeah, it was, they were very brave.
They
I
were,
think they
really.
were brave or foolish, maybe a bit of both. I think there's
Do you have
room
any
for that there.
standout sort of pinnacle moments from that era, mate?
I wouldn't say not standout pinnacle. I think it's just more of the general fun of it. To be fair, I mean, obviously, you always tend to remember the good times. I don't remember there being any particular bad times as such. It was great fun, a great experience.
I'm so glad we did it. I mean, there are so many things
absolutely.
I think about meeting other musicians. We did
Yes,
so much
yeah,
before the age
absolutely.
of 16 that a lot of other local musicians will never do.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Yeah,
and we
absolutely.
were very, very lucky. You know, that was no, because let's face it. I mean, I've listened to some of those recordings since, and we weren't very good.
Okay. I think it's the novelty factor. I think was heavily leaned
kids
on.
playing big harmonicas was a big
That
novelty.
is- I think so.
And there's still not many harmonica groups now. I'm still very active in the harmonica community. There's not any orchestral harmonica groups. We would stand out now. You know,
Wow,
we
fantastic.
really would. So after like post harp stuff,
So,
because
yeah,
I never
so
stopped.
post-harp. No,
so there was
exactly.
literally me and Peter Hogg
yeah.
left when I was about 17.
Yes.
And you guys all went. I don't know, beer and girls. I don't know. What did you do?
Beer,
What did you do?
girls, and
Yeah,
then obviously,
awesome.
yeah,
you
way
bastards.
to,
I couldn't
yeah,
get a
way-
girlfriend because I was long hair. I had long ginger hair and I played the mouth organ. I wasn't going to fuck me, so there was nobody, anyone else was going to.
But then I guess I just went away to like you say college, university, that kind of thing.
Great.
And
Did you
then-
take your harps with you? Did you play at all?
No, not at all.
Really, mate?
Not at all. I didn't even have any harps, to be honest with you.
Didn't you?
No, absolutely not. And it was only when Adam got in touch, as we previously mentioned, and he
Right,
said to me, "Do you fancy playing a bit of harmonica with the band?" And I said, "Yeah, can do, great." He
I
said,
better get one.
"Have you got any harmonicas?" I was like, "I don't have any harmonicas." He's like, "Okay, so these are the keys we play in." So I think I just went to a local music shop in Norwich and said, "What keys have you got?" And they said, "Well, I've got." I said, "I'll take this one."
Did they
this
say,
one, this
I've
one.
got A, it's a good country key. Just for a Blues Brothers reference.
I literally just went
Sorry.
along and said,
Sorry.
"I'll take one of each." And they said, "Oh, we haven't got a B or an F sharp." And I said, "I remember those two
Who the
keys." I
fuck
said,
plays in them keys?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I said, "They said, do you want those?"
I'll tell you who.
Yeah, I want them.
Mark Feltham, live at the Marquee, who
Okay.
plays Don't Do My Homework Anymore in F sharp. On a
I
B
said-
harmonica.
I said, "I'll take them anyway. I don't want to let the team down, just in case." And I believe they're still sat at home, never used since.
So you walked out with like a full set.
Walked
like
out with
12
a full
major
set
keys, yeah.
of keys. I
Because you were
still,
mainly a chromatic player.
and I still
Well,
have a chromatic. I still
yeah,
have my
that
chromatic.
CBH.
I must admit, I still have my
That's a
chromatic.
beautiful instrument, man.
It really is.
Did
Chromatic's
John
lovely.
Cook fix it up for you?
He fixed it up beautifully, and
He's
I
a
have to say,
great guy.
I've sent other harmonicas to John since
Yeah.
then, and does a fantastic job.
He's a legend.
Really
I'm seeing
does.
him in Brighton in February for Harping by the Sea.
Oh, fantastic!
I'll tell you
Okay,
so,
and
I
he
bet
really
he's
does a. There's another. So anyway, and then after that, it was a case of, I bought all these harmonicas. Do I actually know how to play it? And so it took a little bit of time, and I thought, okay. And as you know, Paul, I was never really a big blues
No, you were all
diatonic
about
player.
chromatic and
Always
great on your
chromatic,
jazz and
jazz
your
and classical.
classics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
classical and jazz. So I thought, oh, I maybe better have to listen to some blues music, listen to some of this stuff.
Who did you listen to?
So here we go. And
harp-wise?
so it was really James Cotton
Yeah,
with
of
Muddy
course.
Waters.
Yeah.
Again, the Blues Brothers stuff.
So Mr. Musselwhite,
But
I think, was the
again-
main harp player for those.
Paul Muscle, Charlie Musselwhite. Sorry, apologies. But the one player I really, and the music really struck a note with me, was Paul Butterfield.
You've always been a fan of his.
So Paul Butterfield was one, that, and it's not just the music, his band leadership, his singing, the songs that the band do.
Yeah.
Always loved those. So it was really a case of trying to find a style, sort of somewhere between those, and again looking at, I think certainly coming from that chromatic background, and you've noticed this when I play, is finding more riffs that match. Okay, we'll listen to a song.
A bit more
okay,
melodic.
more
than
melodic.
The kind of wailing, chuggy kind of stuff.
Yes, I try and bring
Good.
some of that in, but I try
I
and bring in
love
more
that
the
style.
melodic side of it. Similar to Paul Butterfield, similar to James Cotton, and really finding little small riffs that sort of work into the songs.
Being a part of the band rather than just being the little, like the harp player that floats on the top, does the odd solo, does the
Absolutely.
turn around and
No,
fuck off
absolutely.
again, being a part
And-
of it. Because let's face it, that's how you were brought up as a musician within the band with us, wasn't
Sure.
it? We all had a part to play. I mean,
Yeah,
you and
absolutely.
I played third harmonies together, didn't it?
We
With
did,
stuff like
yes,
that. You
we
were
did.
exceptional at finding those on your own. already. So I would play the straight lead, and you would be picking third, fifths above, thirds below, and stuff like that on your chromatic. Even back then.
Yeah, and it's still something we try and do with what we do now, is trying to find where, as a small 5-piece band, you're limited, or as a 4 or 5-piece band, you're limited in when you hear these bigger bands with brass sections, with organs, with keys, etc.
The orchestration.
And what you can bring additionally to that with melodics, with fill-in, with that side of things. So I enjoy trying to just sort of fit in more with what to. I would see myself. You guys are like the key to everything. You guys are the cake, and I see myself as more like the cherry on the top. If you know.
I don't know. I think you do yourself a disservice. Because when I write a song now, I think, well, we obviously need some drums, we obviously need some bass, we need to be doing something, so we better have 2 guitars and need some words. But it's never complete until you get that wash of colour when you come in.
But no, it's not. It's not just kindness. I've had, and it's about supporting each other as a band as well, and being able to appreciate that. And for so many times throughout my teenage years of being in bands outside of the harmonica and stuff like that, where the camaraderie, and especially the working class, an actual working class big band, was very much doing each other down and taking a piss and stuff like that. Yeah. So as adults, I spend my time in bands and musicians that do exactly that and build each other up. And I think it's really important. And it's not blowing smoke up your arse. It's appreciating what you do. And it's not necessarily a kindness, it's probably a fact. Yeah. Right. But at the same time, it's good to be able to say it to each other, isn't it?
I think it's good that I think we have that trust in that we can have that candour if we say, look, guys, does that really work? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let's. So I think there is that trust and that candour.
About it.
No, and I'd like to think we don't. I mean, I said, I mean, these are the guys that are the talent, really, in some sense, with regards to the writing the songs. Really feeling what the song is going to do.
They haven't been on Disney or Glastonbury, have they? No, right. No, they haven't.
There's still time.
Hope springs eternal. Hope springs eternal. But I think we by being humble, but being candid as well. And so it's like you say, it's not blowing smoke at us to say that sounded brilliant. Because some people say that first bit sounded brilliant, but we've got to do something about that bit.
Sure, there's ways of talking to each other, isn't there?
Absolutely. I think we have that mutual, that trust within our.
It's a mutual respect, is what it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Isn't it, for a person and as a musician as well? And I'm really glad, because the way they're talking about you as a musician is because you're a musician, and there's so many times. I mean, you stopped playing harp for a long while.
A long time.
And in that period, I spent my time trying to be a harmonica player in bands that just didn't think the harmonica was a real fucking instrument. So, and that's changed an awful lot in the past sort of 5-8 years, when I've sort of, I played all the way through, although I didn't take it quite as seriously as I am now, and I have been for the past 5 years, but I very much spent that time with musicians looking down their nose at it, and these guys clearly don't.
You're
one of them, and that's so awesome. I really love that. Absolutely love that. So how did it feel? I mean, I know this is a strange thing to harp on about, but how did it feel when you weren't? Thank you. I'm here all week. So how did it feel when you weren't playing the harmonica? Did you ever miss it and think, I really want to get back on it and stuff like that? Did you see it at CBH over there and go, miss you?
I'll be honest, I didn't really think about it.
Because you've got quite a good career, right?
I have a career, so it pays the bills. So I guess, and your family comes along.
You've got a lovely family.
Still quite young, so sort of 13, and life changes a little bit. But then, having said that, I mean, how long ago did we got together? Not before. It was really with Big Pink, wasn't it? It was really when we.
I think the moment was you had the two Blues Brothers bands that sort of came at things from different ways. So we were Briefcase for the Blues album.
That's right.
And the soundtrack, plus some band numbers, because we were well into the band.
Yes, we loved the band.
And the Blues Brothers were the Blues Brothers songs, but with some ska added and some specials and things like that. And so we would go and see them, and Elvis as well. They loved Elvis. So we would go and see them play, and they would play Mystery Train fast, like Elvis.
Yes.
And then they'd come and see us, and we'd play Mystery Train slow, like on the last waltz. And they would say, "Why the hell do you play that so slowly?" And we said, because of the last waltz. And they said, what is the last waltz? Well, here's a DVD.
Here's the last waltz. And there was Paul Butterfield.
And next thing you know, they're like...
So while I've got a harmonica player, sorry to interrupt, but I've been dying to do this. While I've got a harmonica player in the room, What harps are you playing these days, man?
So
What you got?
mostly
What's in the
again,
case?
and this is going to really disappoint you because
Okay.
if you remember when I was younger, I always used to like the Honer Special 20.
Yes, you did, yeah.
Still mostly Honer Special 20.
Okay, have you tried their big brother, the Rocket?
No, I haven't. I
Oh,
haven't.
baby.
So
Oh my
I've
God.
seen it, but still Honer Special. But having said that, I like Suzuki as well. I do like
the Suzuki's
tightness.
a little bit tight for me.
Like the tightness
I'm a
is
bit
there.
harsh. I'll give it a little bit vague.
Yeah. Again, you're gonna cringe at this one.
No, all harmonicas are good, mate. I'm loving having a discussion.
Honer
for a
Meister
change.
class, a few of those.
You utter snob.
Because it's
What,
very
the
loud.
The MS versions.
The MS not as good as the
Rubbish.
yeah, not as good as the original.
Terrible.
But they're very loud.
Oh.
I find them, and I play quite hard, and they're very, very loud.
But you play hard and manage with the Suzuki's okay? Because
Yeah,
honestly,
so far,
mate, they
touch wood.
freeze up to shit on me.
They have
Are you
a
talking
couple
about
of
Pro
times.
Masters? You talking
Pro
about-
Master, yes.
Yeah, you've got expensive taste, haven't you? Meister
So-
class, Pro Masters.
Seidel.
Yeah, and
You've
I
got
just
Mercedes.
I just bought my first one.
Which one did you get?
So the steel session steel.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah, the cheaper ones. I love it. You've gone for the expensive ones and then bought the cheapest one of the bloody
No, what's it?
same
No, it's a stainless. It's the one with the stainless steel reeds. The reason why I bought that one was because
there's the session steels. I've
session
shown
steel.
my
That's
case
it.
as well.
That's
I've got
it.
here.
Oh, look at this.
And you asked me to bring a harmonica.
Yes.
This is my harmonica case here. So are you talking
That's the
about
ones?
those ones?
Yes, that's
so
it.
they're the orange ones.
Okay.
Now they have the steel reeds. They also
Yeah,
do
no, I
the
think it's
other
a
ones
blue
with
one.
they're ones with the brass reeds. That's
I-
the summer edition. That is.
That's it. That's the one.
That's the
That
summer
little
edition.
blue one.
Yeah,
I want
they're
the ones
cheaper
that have the
range.
stain.
What you
Okay.
really want is
Okay.
one of these, which is the 1847.
Oh wow! Look at
Yeah,
that.
they're 80 quid.
Ooh.
Or there's the check out the weight of that one. That'll replace your Meister class in
my
a second.
goodness, that's-
Solid stainless steel right the way through.
That's a
All of
wowie.
it. £95.
Oh. I'm glad I'm sat down when you see that.
But when you're an endorser, it's not
very
quite
no, and it's a fantastic. I mean, rugged. I'll say that with regards to that. You
Yeah.
can tell that they're not going to.
Well, the thing is with the Saddles, I'm sorry guys, we're getting all geeky on harps.
No, it's right. Well,
Piers
I'm
has literally
loving
got
it.
his
I'm
mouth
literally
open,
fascinating.
looking at my harmonicas like, look at that. Well, I'm glad to amaze you back after you've amazed me with your glorious venue.
This is definitely the largest amount of harmonicas I've ever seen at one time.
Doesn't
in one
Ryan
place.
have that many?
No, Ryan doesn't have that many.
Just got
Oh,
one
my
small
word.
bandolier.
Just a small. The bandolier over the set.
Oh yes, I've
Which
seen
is
your
a-
bandolier. Awesome. I've
with a
got
cowboy hat and a bandolier. So
Well, you've got to be good, haven't you? He's
we've got
definitely,
it.
obviously good.
It's,
He's got those things.
Don't upset the Wookiee.
But one of the things we, so with regards to harp, and then of course harp mics. So
Yeah, what
one
you
of the things
got, what you got?
yeah, we had so big. I think a few years back, I think we really went looking on eBay, see if we can find old ones that we could do up, etc. So the one I've got now is. Yeah, and this I think I really do epitomise when you see all the gear, no idea. I think it could have been written for me.
You've got an static JT30.
It is. I've got an Astatic JT30, original one, but also the best one was one that was the Astatic 200, which looked like an old hairdryer.
Yes, yeah.
So, and it breaks Adam's heart when we said it. So I cut it down because it had a fixed lead. So cut it down, and we installed a 1950 Shure element on it, and this thing.
Don't you ever want to play clean?
Never. As dirty as possible. As dirty as possible. As dirty as possible.
See, I've got. What amp do you go amp? Do you do amp or do you do pedal?
Yeah. So it has to be.
You've got Fender Basement.
Fender Tweed. No, it's only the Fender Blues Junior.
I feel
the
the
Tweed
need.
shade.
In Tweed.
The need
Oh,
for a
100%, mate. I'm being cliche.
Well, I tell you what, I bet it looks the balls on stage, right? And I bet it suits the sound of what you've been doing.
Yeah,
No, it suits the
exactly.
sound of
So
fucking
I need all.
my
Well, I need
tempo.
all the help I can get.
No,
so
we realise that that's crap. Anyone listening out there, I'll put a link to the Hardworking Blues Band in the description of this podcast, and also so you can see, so you can all find out for yourselves that Ryan is when he does himself a disservice, he is talking out of his arse, and we actually think that he's fabulous, and we know that he does. Mate, it's fabulous to geek out with someone on harps for a change. Honestly, I've had so many guitar conversations, and I literally know hardly anything. Next to nothing about guitars. I'm sort of fairly getting back into it and having some lessons, and I bought myself a Squire.
see that? Yeah, looking
disgusting with that.
actually,
But,
it sounded great. You sounded fantastic, and, and your albums are
You've
amazing.
actually listened to it?
Oh, yeah, I do. I listen to them, so it's fantastic. No, I listen
Bless
to
you,
it.
mate.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you, Squire. Thank you very much. But guys, we've come to the top of our session. I really want to thank you all for your time. And Piers, thanks for hosting us.
Thank you. No, thanks.
It's
It's been
wonderful
really good.
thing.
Yeah.
For everyone, I'll put a link to the Grit as well, where they can find
Thanks.
out what's
That's
going on
great.
and everything else. And Adam, thank you so much for your time and sharing your history and knowledge, mate.
Pleasure chatting. Pleasure.
Fantastic. And Ryan, so good to see you.
So good to see you, mate.
And,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I miss the years that we spent not doing this and playing up and talking shit, mate. We shall do it more often.
Sounds great. Sounds like a plan.
Piers, Adam, Ryan, thank you all so much. And speak to you soon.